Hello grade 12s, welcome to my channel. Let us discuss the QL exam paper, a component of the NBT examinations you guys may sit for during this year or any other time after you see this video. Now folks, it was by request that I have a look at this booklet. I've had some struggles finding it, but eventually I did, so hopefully you're going to be happy to see your request somewhat fulfilled. Now folks, we know that the NBT itself is a benchmark test, right? So obviously it sets some standards to what we can do or what we are expected to be doing. And the nice thing is this book provides some notes that help a student to remember some of these concepts that may slowly have been forgotten in your brain because these were stuff you studied in the earlier grades and you thought you were studying just to pass. Unfortunately, you need them as you move forward in life. Okay, right folks, this is developed by Olico. This is a donation-based organization. You can scan the code and make your donations. I just hope this is not outdated, because indeed if you want to see more of these being done for free and available for all, you have to make those donations, right? Essentially, you can just freely register and perhaps learn on this website, okay? So that's just the thing. So I literally struggled up until I got to this website. This is where I got this booklet. So you can go and have a look for yourselves. But if you will, check the description of this video. I will have this book attached there, as well as the memo of the questions that I'm going to do here today. Now if you just skim and scan through this table of contents, we can already see that we're going to be doing stuff like, operations on whole numbers. We're going to be working on fractions. So these are stuffs you learn, guys, from as far back as grade, sub B, yeah? Things that you learned in sub B. I mean, I learned most of the stuff that I know from way back, okay? Dealing with decimal fractions, perhaps this you start to deal with in grade 7, grade 8, grade 9. Percentages also around that time. Talking of ratios and proportion, well, throughout high school usually. Percentages, decimals, fractions, you name them. Exponential expressions, you start to see these at around grade 9 or so. Then dealing with issues of perimeter, area, and, be it 2D structures and 3D, structures. With 3D, mainly you'll be telling about volume and total surface area. But area, perimeter, these are stuffs you learn from as far back as grade 3. So already this booklet will help you remember all of those things. And of course, guys, that data handling or data handling. This is stats, isn't it? So again, you have learned about stats from grade 10 already. And you know about measures of central tendency and all of those things. Again, when you get to grade 12, you get stuffs like, regression and stuff. All right, probability. Again, this is another topic that you probably get introduced to around grade 8, grade 9, and it carries on throughout matric. And in matric, we learn more about the fundamental counting principle. Okay, and of course, folks, you can take these testlets and see if what you have read on the notes made any sense at all. And this one has answers nicely, so you can double check some of my solutions and workings against the ones that the book provides. There may be a clear coincidence, or there may be truly some separate, technique. It doesn't matter. My job is to give you guys the understanding behind what you do and what motivates those actions. And more importantly is for you folks to realize that what you already know and already have learned can be applied many different scenarios. It just takes an opportunity to do so. And essentially to also provide you alternative ways of solving problems, as we know that this kind of thinking or doing assists in assimilating more and understanding more as well. Right, folks, we know that the NBT tests essentially measure an applicant's academic readiness for university, and they certainly are the exams not necessarily there to replace or to duplicate the NSC, but what we know is that these actually support the NSC results, and many universities use these differently. Others may perhaps focus on issues of access to the institution to this applicant, in which case these results in combination with your NSC results may be used to decide whether you are ready for the study that you are choosing. Secondly, others may use it for placement within the university. Usually these are instances where we check whether the student maybe needs a bit of support. Let's rather place this person on a bridging course so that by the time they finish the bridging course, they would be matured enough and have acquired all the necessary skills for the mainstream, right? So it may be stuff like that. Others may essentially develop curricula in the institution by using the quality of these results that they get, because they can see where students lack and where they actually gain, right? Very important. Of course, there's two NBT tests that you're going to write. It's the AQL and the MAT. So we've spoken a lot about the MAT, and in fact I'm going to still do more videos for you guys on that, because that's the most challenging of the NBT tests. Otherwise, the AQL section is the bare minimum a student should know, and if you fail there, you should not get anywhere near a school or any university, because if you cannot do the bare minimum of going to school, then forget it. Don't go to school at all. Anyway, we know that this AQL test, folks, it has 3 hours long, just like the MAT test, but then there's 7 timed sections. Now this time here, you're not at liberty to just, rock back and forth depending on what you could answer early or not. Remember, this one doesn't really test your proficiency in the subject. This just tests your knowledge, basically. Do you know or do you not? That's just what is important about it. So, if you know something, you know it, and you know it in a split second. You won't say, I know it. You just like, I know you, right? Right. So it's either you know or you don't know. And you're not at liberty to, take more time in this regard. So this is very important, because, like I said, folks, if you fail this AQL component, you should forget about studying anything. Just stop. All right, folks, so let's have a look. What's happening here? So what are you being assessed on in this QL test? Obviously, folks, we need to have our basics of numerical concepts and, of course, information used in text, right? So we need to be able to convert between numbers and words and stuff, right? And, of course, we need to also formulate and apply simple formulae, things like that. We need to interpret. I like this part. We need to interpret tables, graphs, charts, and texts, and integrate information from different sources. Part that I love the most here is the integration of information, because trust me, you may learn these things in isolation or in separation, but at times you find yourself needing them in combination. All right, you can read, of course, folks. I'm not going to essentially read the book for you, but one thing for sure is that everything you do in maths, guys, or anything in life in general, there has to be some logical reasoning. We see a lot of illogical reasoning that sounds so logical because it's popularized. And if you can take an example of such people with just illogical reasoning, politicians are your first choice of people, and of course the spectators and supporters of, clubs, political parties, just any spectator for that matter. People on the fence have this illogical reasoning and thinking, and yet they believe and hope that they're actually, good thinkers, or rather logical thinkers. And that's just the sad thing, because it's such a fallacy. Anyway, in maths, if you have such illogical and fallacy type of reasoning, you are not going to make it, I assure you. And of course, folks, we need to interpret quantitative information presented verbally, right? Symbolically, when we say verbally, we talk about word problems. Symbolically, we talk about, algebraic expressions and equations. And of course, graphically, where we look at, functions, essentially. Now you would have about 50 multiple choice questions in the QL test. And these questions are developed to assess the quantitative literacy of the learners based on the specifications summarized in the table. The next page, of course, I'm not going to read that for you. And of course, folks, you do not need the calculator here, but formula may be given when necessary, or perhaps when you could easily have forgotten. Please read the descriptions here and make sure you understand. Now, how to use this booklet. Folks, this consists of notes that serve as a reminder, as I said, of some of the mathematics topics that might be included in the QL part of the NBT, and essentially stuff that you may be slowly forgetting because it's so distant a memory. Now, as you're not allowed to use this calculator business, probably also find it useful to brush up on what we call mental maths. But technically, guys, that's just some few concepts that you need to to remember and to know how to use effectively. Otherwise, it would be fine. First, times tables. Guys, if you don't know times tables, you are a joke of a mathematics student, because you are supposed to be killed, brutally so, because you are insulting maths. You cannot do maths if you don't know your times tables. Don't do it, okay? No matter how attractive the idea of doing maths is, just do not do it. So these are the things that make or break you in maths. In fact, it's a deal breaker for me. If I have a student who doesn't know their times tables, they would not be allowed in my maths class. Simple. And of course, folks, adding and subtracting numbers in one's head is somewhat important. But again, you will see that these things may sound so fancy that you're doing it in the head, but literally you are doing it in an imaginatory paper or imaginatory board in your brain, because you need to have this imagination. This is why it's important, folks, to read books, because they improve your imagination. For example, if a book describes a person, maybe a backward person, you could almost see the face of that person, how they walk, what they look like in physics. But remember, this is all in your head. It's an imagination. And can you imagine how accurate sometimes you could be by just imagining some accurate description of a structure or something? And when you see it, it's like deja vu. I've seen you before. Technically, it was a description somewhere else that maybe you may have forgotten by the time you see that structure, but you see or even a person, you sound like I've seen you before. But you actually read a description of somebody similar to that, or exactly that person indeed. So trust me, folks, read books more than you watch TV. Rather, listen to the radio more than you watch TV. But all of these three in combination can really improve how you do things. Okay, that's all, folks. Now, here are some notes. Now, operation on whole numbers. Remember, this is what is taught in about grade 2 or so. Organizing numbers in their units. Of course, in this regard, we tend to start from left to right. please. Not left to right, but right to left. So that is how this works. It almost defeats the way we write normally, but yeah, you would understand why. So you need to be able to put numbers in this sense, then it makes it easy to add and subtract, even multiply. Okay, so you can see the addition of just some whole numbers there. And then of course, you can also use a number line for some simple numbers or so. Or you can even decide where your number line starts and where it ends, just to make sure you win, okay guys? Because some of you are limited to thinking when you draw a number line, it has to start from 0 to then 445. Let's say I just said 445 plus 70. You'd be like, what? Where do I begin? Okay, maybe I made 70 too big. Let's say 445 plus 30. Okay, maybe 20. Okay, maybe 15. All right, 7. What are you going to do? So you can just draw a number line that starts on that very number. And then you start doing what you're supposed to do. Okay, and you can see exactly what number you get. So don't be limited to starting from where everything starts. Because, I mean, you are taught basics for this reason. So that when you have to now skip or cut to the chase, you do so safely. Right, and then of course, subtracting whole numbers after organizing them that way or using a number line, depending on where you want to start and where you want to end. And of course, multiplication, again, we still list our numbers in their units, tens and hundreds to thousands and tens of thousands, you name it. But this helps us to do multiplication much better and much easily without using a calculator or needing one at all. Okay, so division, of course, folks, we're going to be talking about long division, right? That's the best way we do things here. And you can do this sometimes visually, sometimes, you just do the long division as we know how. But remember, with division, there is a tendency to struggle sometimes without an aid like a calculator. So approximation sometimes assists in getting around problems, especially where you've got a choice of answers, to choose from, like MCQs. So if you approximate very well, you would be able to pick out the correct answer. But even if you did not, approximating something is good, because you will see that in subjects or topics like stats, there's a tendency to approximate rather than to be exact. Okay, so that's the thing, folks. So please learn all of these things, how fractions work, how to add, how to multiply fractions, proper versus improper, how to change fractions to decimals and decimals to fractions. I mean, these are all topics learned in the previous grades, as I said. Grade 3, grade 4, somewhere there. I'm not going to read these for you, folks. Please read them for yourself and make sure you understand all of these things. And also how to add and subtract decimals, how to multiply them, how to divide them. And I mean, issues of percentages. As we know, everything that's a percentage is a particular number over 100, isn't it? If it is a decimal, we multiply by 100. Nice. So please learn all of these things. I mean, guys, don't be lazy. Don't be lazy. This is easy to read. You don't need an interpreter or even a smart person to tell you what's going on. You can see these notes are detailed on how to do, especially things like percentage increase. Some of you who do physical science, and, have done, pure maths, this is very easy to remember, because these are topics that you'll notice often come up in the maths exams, especially in matric, paper 2 stats. You hear things like this and you wonder how to do this, but yes, you can do this logically without even seeing this formula, but this formula helps you to see that actually these are things that you should be knowing by now. Okay, percentage decrease, similar. Right, so of course, guys, I'm not going to read, as I said. I mean, ratios and proportion, please know how to do these things. I'm going to demonstrate most of the skills that are explained here, but please read. Now, if there's anything I would rather you also take time to look at and make sure you understand is this table, because a lot of students do not know that a half is actually greater than a third, but they don't know that a quarter is less than a third. Okay, so these are some of the things you want to check. Okay, folks, please know these common ratios, because sometimes in percentage you will struggle to figure out what is it. So learn these things and make sure you understand them. Exponential expressions and sets and square roots and cube roots, fifth roots and whatever, please know how to play with these as well. They tend to come up a lot. And this is what we call scientific notation. Okay. Well, when is this taught? Grade 10? Maybe. Yeah. First time I got introduced into this was in grade 10. So I don't know now. But again, our curriculum, guys, was cast because OBE interrupted and disrupted our progress in learning. I don't know why they did that nonsense at all. Because they made us lose grade 7, grade 8, grade 9. And you will see that it really created a tsunami. But hey, it's fine. Those who did it knew exactly what they were doing, destroying us, and they succeeded to some extent. Anyway, that's what happens when you have people who are like plastics. They just fill up with anything anybody chooses. They are not selective. And as a result, the nation breaks down, because we can't have leaders who are not selective. And remember, as a leader, you're not supposed to please the people. They chose you because they know you can lead. As a result, you're not going to have them telling you how to lead. It's funny how people think because they elected somebody and that somebody must do as they please. That's nonsense. The only thing that they can hold that person accountable of is to be fair. I mean, that's the only thing you can ask from someone you put in some position. You expect them to be fair, to show some loyalty, not to totally dismiss you and disregard you, but they may not necessarily have you pleased. Okay, let's not talk politics. We are doing maths, so please know how to write numbers in scientific notation. You know, when the number is too large, for example, you know that it's not easy to write it on a page. So, scientific notation helps you to write a very large number in just a small section of a paper or a page. And again, when the number is too small, with too many decimals, especially digits, maybe like numbers 1 and others start maybe after how many zeros, you know, that is very tough to write and it makes it look ugly. So scientific notation cleans that up. So that's the intention for scientific notation, is to write two large numbers nicely and very small numbers nicely. And don't forget BODMAS, folks. Please, 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 the order of operations is your friend throughout. And of course, you're going to learn about perimeters, areas, volumes. Folks, this is stuff you should know already. And again, statistics, we talked about measures of central tendency. And also when we talk about spread, it's all going to be around range, you know, and all those things, standard deviations. And then we need to look at some basic graphs, bar graphs, you know, they may be like that, you know, separate, or they may be, you know, double or something, and then they may be stacked like that. So nice stuff here. Histograms, you know, pie charts, you know, frequency polygons, or you can say line graphs, and scatter plots, which is the stuff that you would be learning in grade 12. Nice. So, folks, this is it. Probability, as we know, folks, that probability ranges from 0 to 1. And here's the formula to do probability, very important. And of course, folks need to know things about dice. These are usually the tools that are used to assess probability, and of course know the deck of cards and how it is organized. And again, these can help to create some nice questions for students. All right, folks. Yeah, tools for probability, things like, Punnett squares, if you will. You can also do tree diagrams, which is some sort of a Punnett square in a way. And yeah, Venn diagrams, you name them, contingency tables. Perhaps you would want to call that one a contingency table. But it's nothing but a Punnett square, isn't it? It is. All right, folks, these are some tests to go through. I would imagine the first ones should be much easier to go around, So you've got things here, shapes, you've got tables. As we said, you need to know how to interpret graphs, some complex structures and work around them, things like this. Sometimes I remember in grade 9, Mr. Mbangeni, gave us a very crazy question that needed us to draw a pie chart. And like fools, we just drew a circle and cut it, and without thinking about how it should be made. If I can tell you a story about that question, you would laugh, because we literally failed that question. All of us, we couldn't. And that man was so funny. He never taught us these things. He would just ask these things. But again, I remembered he was a maths person. He thought our grade 9, grade 8, grade 7, grade 9 was strong, but OBE interfered, folks. So you need to know how to do this properly. To represent this percentage, how would you know what to do here? You guys, Nina's next, ne? You need to be able to convert this percentage into the angles here, because you've got 360, you've got a revolution, and this percentage is represented by that angle. You need to be able to convert all of these into these angles in relation to 360. Okay, so that's essentially the technique of how to draw pie charts and stuff. But again, in the NBT, you'll probably be given one and have to work out one. But always remember, you can be given, for example, the number of things or how things work, and you may have to fill up the percentages sometimes. So be able to do these things, folks. You've got tables, you've got stacked, bar graphs, lot of stuff here. Tables, more and more. That one is quite catchy. Testlet. See, got nice stuff here. I like things that have these things, You see now, no longer have percentages. So how would you do percentages here? Line graphs and stuff. Okay, more stuff. But you can see there's a pattern, so there's answers. Usually, folks, I think the questions build up in terms of difficulty towards the end, because the earlier ones should be very easy. So, which one has the most stuff? Yeah. Okay, let's see. This one has a pie chart, bar graph, some stuff that looks interesting. Yeah. I'm not sure, guys. Which one do you want? Which one wants the thou? Do you know the Elizabeth in English? Yeah, okay, guys. I think I'm getting a headache from scrolling this stupid page. I think anything that has, all these visuals is going to be good. But let's take the last two questions. Tests. Maybe do one at a time. Let's start with these ones. There's something interesting there. 3D structure, bar graphs, pie charts. Fact of the matter is that we need to find the percentages most likely. So I think that one is more interesting. And then maybe test 5 next. Because again, you would see that those last few questions or tests should be much harder than the first few, because those are just building up your momentum. Let's just take this one, and then we'll take the next, which is the 5th test, maybe on a separate video, just to avoid taking too long doing these. So here we go. I don't go. Right, let's look at this testlet 4. Right, so we're going to start with question 1. Okay, so remember guys, we're practicing, so we're not on a speed spree here, but I'm going to try to be reasonable and not take too long. In the diagram, their diagram shows a rectangular pyramid. So of course guys, you need to understand, what do we mean when we say rectangular? It means its base. So this suggests that the base is rectangular, meaning it's a rectangle. So some words or ways in which we say things, we imply certain other things. Ifana nomuntu othanda ukugwegwa, yamazi baxa ke kugwegwa, sometimes uthetha ngawe kodwa akathethi ngawe engqale ngqo. That's the very same thing here that's happening here. Sisigwegwa sonke is. Now we have this A, B, C, D. So A, B, C, D, because that one is not mentioned, so that's good. BC is 10 centimeters, right? And then CD is 15 centimeters, right? Triangle ABC has an area of 125 centimeter cubed. Okay, cool. So this is this triangle here. And then triangle ACD is 183 centimeters squared. ACD, so this one here. Great. Nice. Now the question says, what is the area of the base? Okay, cool. So number 1, the area of the base, this is a rectangle, right? So we know that the area of the base is going to be length times breadth, right? The length is 15. Remember, the length is the longest side times the breadth, which is the shorter side, 10. Now folks, here you don't need long multiplication to do this. You just take this money, you multiply it there. So this is just 15. And then you bring in the 0 as it is. So this is going to be 150 centimeters squared. Now that means, what is the answer here? C. Right. So the answer here is C. Okay, easy stuff. But again, you may want to practice how to do long multiplication. So you're going to say 15 multiplied by 10. So you say 0 times 5 is 0. 0 times 1 is 0. Then we go to the 10s, we place a 0, because that's literally a 10. Then 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 1 is 1. And then you add everything. So this is 0, this is 5, this is 1. Okay, guys. So please, there are some shorthand ways to do these calculations. So don't be in trouble over simple matters. But if you are in trouble, long multiplication is your tool, folks. You learn this in grade 8, grade 9, maybe grade 7 these days. So you have to know. All right, let's look at Roman figure 2. We are asked, what is the surface area of the entire rectangular pyramid? And we spoke about these things, that in measurement, you're going to get these once you have a 3D shape. Talk of the surface area, the total surface area. So as we know that the base is rectangular, it means the triangles on those slant heights are going to be sort of like duplicated, right? Because the opposite sides of a rectangle are always equal and parallel. So this means we've got that situation. Now we're going to have equal areas of the two faces. The one at the front and the one at the back, and also the equal areas of the faces on the sides, which is the one on the left and the one on the right, and including the area of the base. So we can just say here area or surface area is going to be equal to the area of the base, which is 150, plus the area 2 times the area of one face, plus again 2 times the area of the other face, which is 183. Right? Of course, a student who knows, knows. A student who doesn't know, doesn't know. So this is going to be 150 plus. If you say 125 by 2, what should this one be? Tell us, comrades. All right, this should be 250, right? So this is easy. Please know your times tables, but some don't. I'm going to show you how to do this if you didn't know. Plus this one, 2 times 183, you know, can think about it and be like, you know that this is going to be perhaps 366, right? 366, I'm thinking. But now remember, you can perform some small operations to verify. So you can say 125 times 2. Now again, please make sure you list these according to their units, units, tens, and hundreds. Now all you do here, you just say 2 times 5, that's 10. You put 0, you carry 1. Then you go 2 times 2, that's 4. Then you add the 1, it's 5. Then you're going to say 2 times 1, that is 2. Okay, so you know that, okay, you are good. 250 is 250. Now let's check the other one. 183 multiplied by 2. Okay, let's check that out. So what does it show? So 2 times 3 gives us 6. 2 times 8 is 16. Put 6 and carry 1. 2 times 1, that's 2, plus 1, that's 3. We are good. We got it. So of course, guys, don't forget, you cannot walk away with incorrect answers here just because you're trying too hard. Sometimes be humble. Even simple calculations like these, you probably would need to verify in case you don't understand what's happening. Now, folks, this is easy again because now this provides us a chance to list our numbers in there like that, right? So we're going to add 250, then we add 366. Yes, you can add them straight up if you know how, but look, if there's a simpler way, just go for it. So what would be the answer here? Now let's see. This is 6. And then 5 plus 5, 10, plus 6, that's 16. Put a 6, we carry the 1. And then we've got 3, 6 plus 1, that's 7. Okay, that's 766. Now remember, this is the surface area, centimeters squared. So we are good. So what would be the answer there? 766. That's B. So the answer is B. Okay, guys. So please enjoy the learning process. Of course, I'm just taking time here so that you can fully appreciate what we are doing. Could we answer the last one here? Maybe. Let's try. Now this one says if the pyramid ABCD has a volume of 1,200 milliliters, and the pyramid AMNL is 40% of this, and we can already see which pyramid that is. Alright, so this is the pyramid that we're talking about, the smaller one in relation to the big one. Alright, so this one says, what is the volume of the smaller one? Okay, again, using ratios and proportion. As you can see, this is a slightly grade 12 question indeed. The other two were simple, but they are asked here. Alright, so let's see. 40% off. Now, you know that off means multiplication. In maths, we need to know that certain words have a particular symbolic meaning. So off means multiplication. So we know that 40% of 1,200 implies that we have 40 over 100. As we said, a percentage is a number over 100. Then off means multiplication, 1,200. Okay, so the nice thing here is that the zeros go. You should know how to handle these. So now all we have left is basically, maybe I should have said equal to rather, because that's an expression right now. So this is equal to, now we've got 40 multiplied by 12. Now folks, as I said, once you've got this, you don't need to sweat, okay? You can do this by just, looking at it. But I think this one, not so nice, right? But what I would do, remember, multiplication is commutative. You can actually start with the 12 and follow with the 40. So what I can do is I will just take the 12 and multiply it by 4, right? So what is it? So this is going to be 12 by 4. This is 48. And then you just drop the 0. So this should be 480, right? And if you're not convinced, run a check by using long multiplication. Let's do it. So if you want to be convinced, you're going to say 40 times 12. As you know, 2 times 0, 0. 2 times 4, 8. Then you place a 0 there. 1 times 0 is 0. Then 1 times 4, what is it? 4. Right, and then we add these two after that. So 0 plus 0, 0, 8 plus 0, 8, 0 plus 4, that's 4. So you know that you are good. So as you can see, some shorthand techniques will save you the trouble. But remember, get used to checking if everything is indeed good. But now, do we see 480 here? No. And this is 480 milliliters. And we don't see that. We see 4,800 milliliters. This already says B is out. 48 milliliters, A is out. So the answer is between C and D. So now we have to consider these two. Now, how many milliliters are there in a liter? There is 1,000 milliliters in a liter. And those who forget, please know King Henry died a miserable death. Common to mankind. If you don't know this, and because this is what you may need to use if you don't know the conversions as to how many milliliters are there in a liter. I mean you can convert a meter to a liter, isn't it? and a milliliter to a millimeter to a milliliter, things like that. So you need to know how to adapt things. So that would be the story here if you have to do this. But now I know it's 1,000 milliliters. Makes up a liter. So what are we going to do now? It means we are sitting with milliliters. And we want to go to liters, which is a big value. So we're going to have to divide. So this is going to be 480 divided by 1,000. Now we've got a proper fraction, and we can see these are decimals. Do you know how to convert a proper fraction to a decimal? Let's do it. First thing you do, you ask yourself, how many times does 1,000 go to 480? It doesn't go. So that's 0. Put a comma. Now as soon as you do this, you add a 0 there. You ask again, how many times does 1,000 go to 4,800? Can you see it goes 4 times, remainder 800. So we're going to say 4 here. But there's a remainder of 800. Now the 4 is out. Now you add a 0 here. Now all you're going to be focusing on now is the 800, not the 4 what. So you're going to ask again, how many times does, what is this? 1,000 go to 8,000. Goes 8 times. And that's the liters. That's the liters. So what does that mean, guys? Answer is D. Okay, so therefore our answer is D. Okay, so I hope you guys are getting the hang of things. Obviously, folks, if you want to think long division in this process, because long division can help, but this is literally what we were doing. So you can just write here 1,000 divide, okay, not this one, but into, you can say 1,000 into 408. Obviously, 1,000 goes 0 times. Then you say 0 times 1,000 is 0. You can just add 0, 0 there, and then remember there's a subtraction there. So essentially we get our 480. This time we know that we can't repeat this, right? As soon as we add an extra 0, because we can't leave it. Once we add an extra 0, this is going to be after the decimal. So how many times does this go? 4 times. Forget the remainder. The remainder is 800, but just say 4 times that is going to be 4,000. Remember there's a negative there. So 0, this is going to be 800. Then we ask again, is it possible for this to go there? No. So again, we add another 0. Now remember, once we've had a decimal or a comma there, we're not going to change anything. So 1,000 to this is 8. And 8 times that, 8,000. Now you do this, guys, up until you get nothing. So when there's nothing, then it tells us that the answer is this one. As you can see, this is a terminating decimal. Right. But others are not. So you may keep on having this process ongoing, especially recurring fractions. You keep having the same thing over and over and over. So please master long division. But you can see there are some shorthand techniques that doesn't even require the long division. Is it long division? Yes. Of course, conversions and all those things, guys, are your friend. Okay, let's look at the next question. Question 2 says, I have 4 friends, okay? Sean, Kyle, Monica, and Ali. I asked them to stand in a horizontal line. In how many ways can I arrange them in this line? So this is fundamental counting principle. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 people. Now out of 4 people, how many options do I have for the first position? I have all 4. But once I put down 1, I'm going to have 3 for that seat or that position, and then 2, and then there will be the remaining 1 for the last position. But remember, this is random. Now we know that this is a 4 factorial, but we're not going to do that because we don't have a calculator. So this is 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. Now you can multiply in part here. 4 by 3, that's 12. Then 2 times 1 is just 2. And you know that 12 by 2, that's 24. Nice and easy. So we've got 24 ways. Cool. So answer is C. C. So therefore our answer goes amazoc. Siyancinisa. Question 3. Question 3 says, Sol wants to make a smoothie. Icon Sol. Uthambile ngababhuti abangosisi ne. Ngosisibhuti lo. Sisiqhela kabi Sol. Uzihlaxa kutheni smoothies wena, you damn it. Right. Is doing this thing, this boy. Imathile lentwana. He knows that 15 kiwis, I don't even know what kiwis are. Are we in Australia or something? Is it New Zealand? New Zealand. He knows that 15 kiwis will give him 2 liters. Okay, this is, stuff that relates to ratio and proportion. Okay, 15 kiwis will give us 2 liters of smoothie. He doesn't need that much, though. He doesn't need that much, though, as he didn't gym too hard today. So the question is saying, how many milliliters of smoothie will he get from 6 kiwis instead? Okay, crazy question, but we're going to handle it. So remember, we were told that 15 kiwis, I'm just going to say 15K, gives us 2 liters, okay, of smoothie. Now the question is, what will 6 kiwis give us in terms of liters? Right? But we know we want milliliters after this. So all we do, folks, we cross multiply. Please learn these skills. You will not go wrong if you do this well. So we now know that this is going to be 15x is equal to 6 times 2. This is just going to be 12 liters, right? Because this is liters, but forget about that. Therefore, it means our x is going to be 12 over 15. Now, 12 over 15 can be simplified further. 3 goes how many times? There 4. How many times? 5. Okay, please simplify, folks, until you cannot. Right. That's what we have. That's the story. Now, what are we going to do with this? Let's see. What is the question? Okay, so this is what we have now. But remember, this is liters. This is liters. But now we want milliliters. Okay? So we know that we've got liters and want to convert down to a smaller value. We can say then, we know that 6 kiwis is going to be equal to 4 over 5 watt times 1000. Isn't it? That's the one. So what do we see? Now what are we going to do here? This one is easy because 5 goes once. To 1000 goes how many times? 200 times. Please, you need to know these things. You need to know these things now. This 1 times 4. This is 800 milliliters. Milliliters. Okay. Nice and easy, guys. So you see, simplifying simplifies your life. Otherwise, you could easily run into some serious problems. Cool. So what's the answer there? A. So we can see, therefore, our answer is A. All right. So you can see now it's getting a bit interesting. You're converting twice, or calculating and then converting. So these things, folks, are going to always be there. We need to know how to do them, or they will do us. So question 4 says, the area of a square is 36 meters squared. What is the perimeter of the square? Easy. We know that the area of a square is equal to s squared, or its side squared. Now this is 36 equals s squared. So we just do simple taking square root, as we know how. We know that the side is basically 6 meters. All right, so that's cool. So what's the perimeter? We know that the perimeter is going to be times, it's going to be 4s, right? It's 4s, not 45. So this is going to be 4 times 6. This is basically 24. Now meters, remember, perimeter is modeled by a linear function. Area is modeled by a quadratic. All right, volume, cubic. You must know these. There are no excuses acceptable. So the answer here is D. Of course, guys, you do get those questions that are just simple and straightforward. And when you do get them, don't waste time. Move on. Question 5. Now, question 5 says, suppose that the price of platinum is twice the price of gold, okay? If we use P to stand for the price of platinum, so this one is easy, we write P equals, it's going to be 2 times that of gold. So, and then G for the price of gold, yeah. Now it says, which statement is true? Okay, C. Thank you. So I can therefore say the answer is C. Again, this was a lower grade question. Right, so let's look through question 6. Now, question 6 is an interesting one because we need to interpret some stuff. The bar graph below shows the number of grade 7 learners and the sports they play. Each learner only plays one sport. Okay, cool. Right, so we've got the bar graph there. Right, it says, what is the total number of learners? Obviously, it's going to be these totals. That, and that. So we can already see there that, very easy. 35. Okay, this one is a bit tricky. 15 and 35. Now this is a bit of a problem because to do this Roman figure 1, we need to think about it a bit nicely. So we know that this is 35 plus, I can just take the ones I can read, and 30 plus 15 plus. Now this one is 25, but we can see it's slightly more than 25. But these are the questions that force us to do some estimation quickly. So let's just say this is 25. We just want to estimate. Remember, this is an estimation. Because with MCQs, we know we can get to the answer easily. So 5 plus 5, 10, 15, put a 5 there. carry 1. So 3, 6, 7, 9 plus 1, 10. So this is 105, and you can already see 105 is here, but it's not the correct answer. So A is out. 106 is possible because we see that this is slightly more than 105. 35 is out. Again, 107. Now the question is between these two. Obviously, if you look at this one is not so far from this line. So that could easily be 1 digit. So I would choose B. But remember, D could very well be the answer. Okay. So this is an estimate, to be honest. So it depends on how sharp your eyes are or how good they are. So essentially, folks, we can say, therefore, here there is 106 learners. Therefore, the answer is B. But remember, this is an estimate. I could be wrong. You could be wrong. And these are the kinds of questions that can never be a pass or fail type of questions, because here it's a matter of how well you can estimate things that are not exactly what you see. Okay? So an estimate, folks, there's no wrong answer, to be honest. It can be either outrageous or ridiculous, but truly, you wouldn't say wrong or right. Okay, so I would choose B, but you may very well choose D, guys. I mean, you will check with the memo. I don't have time for that. Right, let's move on. So number 2 says, what is the modal group? Now, modal group means the one with the highest frequency. One with highest frequency. Right? So obviously we can see it's the soccer team. Good. So here the answer is D. Straight up, there's nothing to say here. Now, 3 says, if I choose one learner randomly, which statement best describes the probability that the learner selected plays hockey? Now we know, folks, for number 3, that the probability of any event E is going to be the number of ways in which E occurs in this sample, but divided by the number of outcomes in the sample space. All right, so this means we've got how many hockey players? 15. Divided by how many? Now we chose 106. So we're going to have to stick with it here. Again, this is the situation where you would have a positive marking. In case our answer for B is whack, then we are whacked. But anyway, we'd get some marks, but lose perhaps the final answer. Now, folks, this kind of a situation is a bit uncomfortable, right? Because, I mean, 106 to 15 is cool. You can say 0, but now to 150, 106 to 150 becomes a bit cumbersome. Now, this is again a situation where you have to do an estimation. So on the side, you estimate on the side and say, well, look, I'm going to say this is 15. 106 is closer to 100. So I'm just going to say, what about 15 over 100? Right? And I ignore the 6 because I want to estimate. Now, what do we see there? 100 goes how many times to 15? 0 times. Then you put a comma and then you add a 0 there. Now, how many times does 100 go to 150? It goes 1 time, remainder 50. Right? Now, this 1 is slashed. So again, you add another 0. You ask how many times does 100 go to 500, because this is the focus now. Now it goes 5 times. So we now know that, okay, 15 over 100 is equal to 0.15. All right, so we look at the options. We see that we've got 0.15. Obviously, A is out because we know that as we increase the denominator, this has to be less. The answer has to be less than that. Right, so we know here for sure that therefore the answer is going to be less than 0.15. because the denominator is slightly bigger than 100 for the same numerator. Now, what should it be? That one is out. More than, again, B is out. Less than, good. 15%, no, because this one is saying exactly 0,15. So the answer is C. So we can say, therefore, answer is C. Okay. Now this is what you would do as a form of rough work. You estimate. As you can see, some divisions are not comfortable because you would see even on the calculator you get some non-terminating decimals and stuff, which may be quite uncomfortable. Right, so that's the thing, folks. So when you can't really do it straight up, please know you can estimate. After that, you decide by looking at what I have. Okay, if I increase my denominator slightly, therefore the ratio should be much less, isn't it? Because this is a proper fraction. Interesting stuff. So that was a nice question. Please do more of these kinds so that you become your own person. Right. So that's it for question 6. I'm going to leave some space for you guys to write some notes. So let's look through question 7. Okay, so question 7 says, Minky is planning a trip to Europe. First, she will go to England and from there to France. She budgets 20,000 rands for this trip, which she wants to convert all to pounds. Okay, cool. Now the exchange rate is 1 pound equals 16 rands. Okay, cool. Now the question says, how many pounds does she get for her rent? Again, we already demonstrated how to deal with ratios and proportion, guys. So we knew that, well, we know that 1 pound, pound. 1 pound gives us 16 rands. Right? Now, we want to know 20,000 rands gives us how many pounds? Okay, X. Right, now let's do the things. Cross multiplication. As you can see, this technique takes you through some serious problems. Now we've got 16x is equal to 20,000. Okay, cool. Now we want to know the x, isn't it? Yes. So this implies that x is going to be 20,000 divided by 16. Well. There are many ways of solving here, but just try long division, right? Don't do other things. Okay, do other things as you wish. So let's just show you guys how to just survive these things. Well, if you look at 16, it can essentially go to this one once. 1 times 16 is 16. Remember, we subtract. This time we subtract everything under 20. So 2 minus 1 is 1. And did I do the right thing? No, I did not. First, we borrow 1. Right? We borrow 1. We leave 1 here, and then we have 10 on the other side. So 10 minus 6 is 4. We always start from the units. Okay, don't do crazy things. Start from the units to the tens. 1 minus 1 is 0. Right? And then you drop a 0. Then 16 to 40. How many times? Yes, 2 times. 2 times 16 is 32. And of course, guys, we're doing my subtraction, and here to succeed we borrow 1, and then 3 is left. And then 3 minus 3, 0. 10 minus 2 is 8. We drop the other 0. Right. So it gets a bit hectic now. 16 to 80. 16 by 4 is 64. Plus another 60. It's 8, ne? Is it 5? 16 times 5. Aye, some man. Oh, yeah, baleki times table, guys. 16 times 5 on by. I'll just say collect. 16 by 4 is 64, right? And then we put another 16 there. What do we get? 80. Yeah. 10 and this tandabuzanj. Go 5 bafethu. 16 times 5. Is it 5 or 5? 5. 5 times 16 is nikaban ke ngoku. Is nikaban u8 ngqo. Ingathi izawufeyila nje le nto. Ay. Kodwa kusifeyila nje wena nhloko yegusha. Nhloko yegusha kwerini. So konke kumkile. Hayibo. Ake sayirata jwale haile je. Hona le 0 ye mong manna ontso dutsing mona. 16 to 0 goes how many times? 0 bafethu. 0 times 16 is 0. 0 minus 0, 0. Yeah, what a strange thing. But hey, it's long division, hey? It's not me, Baba. Esni somos, esni mimos. I'm not the one. So our quotient, guys, is the answer. As you can see, times table needs to be understood sometimes because it's gonna head, It's gonna head. So we can say therefore x is going to be equal to 1,250 pounds. White kyona. Is that so? Yes, there's an answer there. T reshebile. Ga ibeya haufinyana. Ga ijwetsa hore hatamela manyeo ke batla o bua le wena man. Hobane ke batla o sebela ntho mona tsebeng tsa hao. Hobane ke a o bona wena ehlile wa phapa. Tshwantse go sebele ntho tsena ke tla kgona handle hore ke di phe haeba o bua ka tsona bathong a ke le rata o bua moslona le bua ntho tse bohlokwa mona diphiri le bapala ka tsona e ka ke di toy tsa bana re tlwaela hampe hlile re tla le thesela re tla le tlatsela ka di tlapanyana let's all le robetse tje. Right, when she leaves England she decides to change the 500 the pounds to euros. Is it euros? Euro. Euros. Hi, out in your sale. Euros. Hey, kuthiwa euro man. Kuthiwa euros. Sathetha uToti. Hlobo la Toti. Tla nqhala ska Toti. Tlo qhala ma. Ay. Nanda manzi. Angakayidinki. Excuse me guys for the noise. My door is just needing grease. I hate doors that make noise like this. They need to be greased. Alright, so where were we? Okay, now she wants to change the 5 pounds to euros. The exchange rate is 1 pound. Iponti. Yes, iponti. He's on a shemile ponti. Shemile ponti. He's on a shemile ponti. Hayi bo. Ngiyazazi izinto. Hayi angisazi. Ndiyanixelela. Okay, guys, so now let's get to business. It says, how many euros does she get for her pounds? Remember, she has 500 pounds. Nice. Again, ratios and proportion here. So we're told one pound. 1 bondi. E re fa tse kae di-euros. E re fa di-euros tse bohlokwa. Euros. How many are they? 1,25. Oh, okay. Now, how about 500 pounds? X. Nice and easy, guys. Cross multiplicare. It gives us what we want. So this implies that x is going to be equal to 1,25 multiplied by 500. And you're like, what am I going to do? Well, you should know how to handle decimal fractions. So you convert to a fraction. So this is 125. There were 2 digits after the decimal. So this is over 100 multiplied by 500. The nice thing is that the zeros grace us with their exit. Nice and easy. So we've got x is 125 times 5. Yo. So what are we gonna do? What are we going to do? Do you know how to multiply this thing? Well, maybe you do, maybe you don't. I don't care. Maske siyenze nje kamnandi nje sithi 125 multiplied by 5. Singaziqhekeza ingqondo. 5 times 5, 25. Put a 5, carry the 2. Then we say 5 times 2, 10, plus 2, 12. Nice. We carry the 1. Then 5 times 1, that's 5 plus 1, 6. So that's 625. Okay, so we can say therefore x is going to be 625 euros. Is it euros or euros? The answer is D. Rishebile. Mukuku unjebile. Therefore the answer is Dida. Is Dida. So again, guys, you can see, hey, uzopasa xa uzazi izinto. Kodwa uba kungena impukane emlonyeni ngoba uyakhamisa ulibale, hayi ke indaba yakho leyo nomdali wakho. Now, returning home from Europe, she converts 250 euros to rands. Using the above exchange rates, how much rand does she get for her euros? Right. So now this one, we're comparing 3 ratios of some sort. So folks, we know that technically 1 pound was equal to 125 euros, and 1 pound was also equal to 16 rands. So this already tells us that we just need the 2, not the 3. We need the 2, not the 3. Right, the musketeer. Aye, man, he said, Joel, this thing is like a dance on the floor. Only 2 can tango, mas. Yeah. Don't do the musketeers here. So, of course, guys, we know that now 1,25 euros gives us 16 rands. Now, what about 250? It's going to give us what? X. So nice and easy. We cross multiply. And what happens is going to be 1,25x is equal to 16 times 250. Hey, hayi ke ngoku. Ithe ngathi ifuna ukuspanisha nje ngoku. Hey. Hey, siyapanisheka mos. So guys, what we know is that we can say this is 125 over 100. X is equal to, please don't do this, just leave it 16 times 250. Sometimes delaying certain things is important, right? What I just said, I would ask to continue on the other side. So we know that X is going to be basically 16 times 250, right? Right. Now, when we divide by a fraction, we simply multiply by its reciprocal. Yayibona ke ngoku le nto iba mnandi xa nje ngama-crinise ke mangqamngqe ke mashuja. We know 25 goes 2 times there, isn't it? Yeah, it goes 2 times. And now our X is going to be 16 by 2. This is 32 times 100. Now this one is cool because we are like, no man, we're gonna take you and multiply you there. So 32 there is gonna be X is equal to 32. Then we drop the zeros. If man again go it's 3 decent 200. Sishashayile mfethu ngama-crinise. Therefore i-answer yethu ngubani? B for Baba. B for Baba. All right, so I'm sure you guys can appreciate how to work with these numbers, how to convert from decimals to these, and then how to do things. Sometimes delay certain multiplications because there's a good chance other things that may come in can make it even easier. You don't need long multiplication for this, but if you want, you can try. Let me just show you guys, because the intention is to make you learn and understand that this thing works. So 100 multiplied by 32, please make sure you list this properly. 2 times 0, 0, 2 times 0, 0, 2 times 1, 2. Then you place a 0 there because we're on the tens now. 3 times 0, 0, 3 times 0, 0, 3 times 1, 3. You add everything. 0 plus 0, 0, 0 plus 0, 0, 2 plus 0, 2. 1, 0 plus 3 is 3. Can you see? It's like that. It's like that. So you have it, guys. It's sorted. Our lovely friend. I was saying, guys. Hey, move us. We are on fire. Okay, let's move. Let's move. But of course, I'm taking it slowly so that you don't panic. It's easy to do so. Right, we've got a pie chart chance. The pie chart below shows the highest level of education in South Africans aged 25 and older have, giving the exact number of people. Can you see, guys, the majority of these guys have primary education, and you may think this is an insult. It's actually true, my lord. Yeah, asifundanga mfenezi libale ukukhamisa lapha libala ukukhala. Thina siyahlupheka. Ngobani ongahlupheki namadoda? Khani nixeleleni. Ngoba nosebenzayo uyahlupheka. Zininzi into ezisihluphekisayo. Ziibhenki ngapha zisitshontshela imali, nguSARS ngapha naye uvela afune nditsho nale osozigcinele yona. uSARS yakwazi uthatha i-tax sani kwisalary yomntu. For example, in my salary, SARS takes 47,000 plus minus. I think it's already 50,000 now. Can you imagine if they were to let me keep that money? Man, khumbule isalary yomntu ofundileyo kwelinye ikhaya liya ethathwa kwimali yam endiyisebenza phantsi koxinzelelo ke phofu. Hayi uba ndimthebelele kulula. Hey madoda, andiyazi le nto le. Do you know that at our work, guys, we use our personal phones to do work for the government. We use our own data to interchange information when we refer patients. Even when the other doctors from other hospitals call mine, the landlines in those bloody hospitals have not been paid for. Those guys have to use their phones to save lives, and yet you have fools with primary education going around talking nonsense here that doctors are not special. Nina ningamaqaba ndinixelela. Ngcono kwawona amaqaba ngoba ke aqaba imbola. Andazi nina niqaba ntoni. Caphukisa kahle kahle. Anyway, this is an insult to our nation. We can't have people with primary education here like that. Can you see? Lihlazo, actually. It's not an insult. Actually, it's a shame. It's a shame. Please, guys, educate yourselves. At least, guys. Nogo. Kyamkeleka okya. Yaqonda. At least. Sifuna phalento. Mayenyuke la phile. Mayenyuke. Asifuni primary education. Leyo nasifuna noyazi ke le. Leyo nasifuna nokuyibona. Leyo na it's a complete no. Not in this day and age, guys. And by the way, education is about to become fully digital. There's no walls to build, and in fact, I don't think we need to anymore. With these gadgets that we have, guys, you can just attend school in the comfort of your home. Then it's going to be up to your parents and yourself, if you are all disciplined, to really make this work. You will only show up for practicals if you're a medical student. They will perhaps, allocate you to the nearest hospital for your practicals. So essentially, this can make education even cheaper because honestly, it would be even cheaper. But of course, you know how people are so greedy. They would even find a way of making it expensive. Anyway, please, masingabi ngamaqaba angafundanga. Right, ngcono sibe ngamaqaba clever ngenani. Ngokunina nibangalawa angafundanga aphinda bedomu ngaphezulu. Anyway, approximately what fraction of people have secondary education? We see now. What fraction of people have secondary education as their highest level of education? So we're talking about these guys now. The one that I think we should rather have, because with secondary school, I mean, guys, when we were students, some of the guys who were smart, especially in the languages English, they used to feature in the African Reporter in Springs or East End. There's a famous paper there. Some guys used to write for the African Reporter because they were good. So, I mean, if you have secondary education, you're more likely to be, in fact, you are employable. You can be trained even further to gain more skills. You don't need to be at varsity to really be skilled. Because training programs are sometimes 6 months, 1 month course. Such people can be trained and they are essentially employable. But primary school people, I mean, all they know is to depend. They can't stand for themselves. So get away. You are crowding the line if you are from primary education. Ndiyaxolisa guys if niyahlabeka ngoba ke shame abazali bethu bakula category. In fact, those schooling. Kodwa ke sani bingamaqaba smart lawana. Mna abamabatali. Hayi. Bebekreva kabi. Those people ngihamba ezinye izinto ndiqanihlele ndizicinga ngiqonda ba hey. Le gang ibe clever kodwa guys. Izinto endizifundayo ngoku mna ezingixakayo futhi. Abantu bebezazi ngoba bebezenza effortlessly kodwa bengenazo nalencinci education eyagqitha standard. Kambe umama wayevela athi yena waphuma nge-recess. Bathi xa wakhala intsimbi ye-recess baciba kuphuma isikole baphuma bangabuyi. Hey, kodwa lapho be-clever guys, andifuna uniqhatha. Sometimes ndizibuza uba ndi-clever ngokwaneleyo na ngoba mna okwami uba clever mhlawumbe sekudibene nokufundiswa. Yena wayengafundiswanga. That means babeke wafundiswa laa mntu. Ngabe waba yintoni? I wonder. Anyway, So what is the fraction, guys? Now this is good. Now folks, analysis. Now this is where skills of analyzing come in. Now remember the pie chart. If you look at this thing, just look at that one. Look at that one. Sometimes have vision. Now remember, if we're to have a quarter, for example, this would be 90 degrees, isn't it? If we're to say that should be a quarter of a circle, that would be 90 degrees. But can you see there's a bit more? So this is more than a quarter, but slightly more than a quarter, and certainly less than a half, because a half would be going over here. Now guys, you need to know these things, eh? Kuyafiwa lama ungazazi indaba zakho. Kuzawugcina izibane emini, ndiyakuxelela. So of course this would have been a half, isn't it? Half of the circle. So can you see this thing is more than a quarter, but certainly less than a half, because a half would be a fraction of 1/2, and a quarter would be a fraction of 1/4. But you can see this thing is in between a half and a quarter, so most likely a third. So from our estimate, we can say this could be a third or so. Now let's see. 2/3, no, because 2/3 is more than a half, isn't it? Yeah. 2/3 is more than a half. I think so. I know so. Ah, God. So nice. Okay, cool, guys. So as you can see, this one needs a bit of analysis. So it's certainly not a half. It's not a quarter. It's not... Okay, 2/3, but it's too much. It's outrageous. It's more than a half, so it can't be. So the answer must be D. Whether we know it or we don't, we just do it by just estimase. Estimase, isn't it? You estimate. You estimate. High might. High might. High might. Are you a high might? Guys, they're right. Whew. Okay. Right. Now, that is the other way. Okay, guys, we can estimate this. If we've got the knowledge by looking, by inspection. So our estimation by inspection told us that the answer is D. Okay, but we've got numbers there, so we could do this also by calculation. So we can estimate by inspection, but also by calculation. Let's see when we calculate. What happens when we calculate? Remember, guys, I'm just imparting skills, so I'm not really answering these questions, so be angry with me if you want. But I'm just imparting skills here to you, so that's why I'm taking it easy. I'm not rushing anything. So obviously, folks, this is going to be, you can just say fraction. It's going to be that number, 11,886,912 divided by, what would be the total? Now the total needs us to be skilled in adding numbers. So we've got 22,465,086. We add 11,886,912. We add to that 2,269,421. Right? We add to that that small one. So this is 1,235,250. So as I said, you need to be able to list numbers from their units to the hundreds of thousands, right? So we just add these things. So 6 plus 2, 8, plus 1, 9. 8 plus 1, 9, plus 2, 11, plus 5, 16. So this is 6, we carry 1. 0 plus, so I can just easily take 1 plus 9, 10, 14, 16. We carry 1. 1 plus 5, 6, plus 6, 12, plus 9, 25, ne? 21, 10 nango. Imanqalen bali futhi. 6 plus 6, 12, plus 9, 21, ne? Yeah. Then 26. We carry 1. And then we've got 7 plus 8. That's 15. Plus 6. That's 21. 24. Then we carry the 2. Hey, ziyakhala zokhalige base. 6 plus 8, that's 14, 16, 18. And then we carry 1. 3 plus 1, 4, 6, 7. And then we've got 2 plus 1, that's 3. Okay. Again, if you chose this route, you can see it's already tedious from the outset. Please, guys, these skills are not going to be meaningless. So learning them is good. So this is 3 million, not 3 million, but 37,846,669. Now we can see that, now we always try. Again, you see, this is horrible. So you can't do this. But we can estimate, as I said. This is an estimation. Estimation, might. You know, might. So what is this close to? It's close to, it's close to 12 million. Maybe. This is 11,800,000. Yeah. 11 million. Do you want to say 10 million then? Hey. E batla hon sharp as well. Kwanji bistin le question. Yeah, man. Secondary education. So that 11,000, 11 million. It's close to 12, man. Let's take 12. Say this is 12 million. It's close to that. Right? So that's close to 12 million because, it's 11,800,000. So it's almost 12 million. Now let's divide this and say 37,800,000. It's almost 38 million, right? So you do this, guys. Try to look at what is the nearest don'ts, so that we can do things. You see now this, that. So we get an estimation of 12 over 38. Y born. And if we want to simplify this one further, what goes to 38? And we can see that this is somewhat 6. 2 goes 6 times to 12, and to 38 goes 19 times. So this is 6 over 19. I may be shooting myself on the foot here, but yeah. this is like this. Okay, all right, okay. So this is 6 over 19 somewhat. Now where's this question? Ibisithini konje le question, guys? Ay man. Oh yeah, we're dealing with that thing. And you can already see that 6 goes to this thing to itself once. And 6 to 19, I mean, it goes to 18 3 times, comma, some change. So can you see this is indeed very close to a third? You can even look at it that way. Or if you want, you can say 19 to 6 goes how many times? 0 to 60. You see ke ngoku iqala phaya ingxaki, izawuqala phayana. Iqale phaa xa ungazazi ii-times tables zakho usemanyaleni. But you can almost tell that 19 is going to be what? 38 plus 19 isinikeze u-50 bani konje. Izothi 50 something kodwa. So ithini konje athi sibale. Masungathi xa uthanda ungathi 19 guys, xa ungathi uxakekile ngenye ixesha ufuna uba ngumkokoteli. Mna ndiyakokotela i-maths, guys, andiyazi ndikuxelela. Ungacinga uba ndiyayazi, mna ndiyakokotela qha ndinaxesha laloo nto. Xa ndibona uba izinto ziyandixaka I resort to something. 9 plus 9, 18 plus 9, 27, right? So I put a 7 there, I carry a 2. 2 plus 1, 3, plus 1, 4, plus 1, 5. Can you see it's 57? So it goes 3 times. So this is going to be 0. Besifuna uyitshintshe ibe yi-decimal kahle kahle. Actually leyo na we don't want to remove. Nansi sifuna uyisusa. So xa uthanda, you can easily convert this to a decimal and say this is going to be 0,3. Right? So obviously, what is the remainder there? 3. Ne? You understand 57. Yeah, guys, 3. Then 57. Remainder 3, right? So kula 3 uphinde ufake u-0. Pa 19 ku-30 uyakangapi? Uyaka-1. Right? Yeah, khona into engathi yanibhida ke ngoku. Besithe remainder 3 sifake u-0. U-19 ku-30 yaka-1. Remainder. Yo, hayi inkulu le gap. But you get the drill, guys. This is almost a third, isn't it? A third is 0,33333 recurring. But this is not exactly, so we can see that this thing is approximately a third. Okay, guys, so funeka ubethelele nezikhonkwane ke xa ungabe uxakana nento. So ke mna ke ndiyakokotela, guys, because math yam seyabola kudala. I used to be a sharpshooter when it comes to times tables, because we used to sing these in sub B, which is, you guys call it grade 2. Now we were singing the times table like nobody's business. We had very good teachers, honestly. I wouldn't lie and say we didn't. Memposho, I'll never forget that lady. Don't get saying no. I understand now why she was the way she was with us. Hayi, bantu basencobo. Hey, i-violence kulaa ndawo. Hayi bafethu ngeke. Akho mntu ongekho violent namakhehlekazi phayana nootata omkhulu. Hey madod, into enjani nale? Hey, injalo. Okay, guys, I think you understand now that you can actually do some estimates just playing your tricks nicely, and you can see the estimate is not wrong because we actually made it bigger. So this already tells us that if it says 0,31 some change, certainly it has to be smaller than that. So it's going towards 0,3, so to speak. So you can see an estimate is not all too bad sometimes. But here, you cannot be told you are wrong or right? You can be close, you can be far. That's what we can say. Approximately what percentage of people have primary education as their highest level education. As you can see, guys, this is more than a half, isn't it? Because there's also an extra little bit here, right? It's more than a half. But if we were to consider some number and say, well, let's say this was somewhat going to 270, so to speak. This is when we would be looking at, that angle being 90 degrees somewhat. As you can see, you can look at the pie chart and estimate. Now, if we look at these guys, they are slightly more than a half, but certainly not. As you can see, there's a big difference here with a quarter. Can you see this one? If you look at it, for us to have something like that, do you realize we're missing we're missing this. Can you see? That is certainly bigger than that sector. So this sector is way less than when we've got 2/3. Remember, this would be a half, that would be 2/3, more or less. Is it 2/3? No. This is 3 halves, not 2/3, 3 halves. Because this is 3/4. 3/4 is 3 halves. Did I say third? No. 3/4, basically. So basically, guys, this is it's just slightly above the half. So anything slightly above the half could be it's greater than 50, so this one is out. But 75 would be there when we've got 3/4. That would be 75, but we can see this is way less than 75. So the answer is between 60 and 70. Okay, so who do we settle for between the two? Now we can see that this one is not so far away from, the half. So I would go for this one. Well, wrong or right, guys. As I said, some questions are just not nice, okay? Because it's either you did well or you did not, and no one can blame you for it, because if you put something like this and this one, come on, guys, it's also fair to choose this. But we can assume that 70 is somewhat close to 75 and certainly significantly greater than 60. So as a result, 60 becomes more attractive because we look at how much above the half mark, and it's on the third, you see. So stuff like that, man. It is stuff like this, stuff like that. Okay, so we can see that, okay, all right, okay, that's what we have, Bafwetsu. That is what we have, so we can choose that. So I can say here again, we estimate by inspection. If we do that, we see that the answer is A, by inspection. But how do we estimate also? We can also do it by calculation. Let's just show you again. Tedious process, yes, but it can be done by Bafwethu. So we can say here, percentage is equal to, now this is 22,465,086 people out of, now the total we were given. In fact, if you chose that approach, it's already the 37,846,600. I went 669. Right, so of course, we're going to multiply this by 100%, isn't it? Yes, of course. But now again, this is a mess. So we need to check. 22, it's close to 20,000. Sorry, 20 million. And this one, 37, well, we can say it's close to 38 million. Right. So this goes, that goes. So we've got, of course, I forgot our times by 100%. So I'm asking to continue on this side. So we've got 20 over 38 multiplied by 100%. So this is not so bad. And of course, these are even numbers. 2 goes how many times? 10. To 38 goes how many times? 19 times 100%. So we said that this is almost a third. So if this is almost a third, okay, not almost a third, let me not lie. Let's just do it, guys. I'm thinking now. This 1 to 10 goes how many times? 0, comma. So we're dealing with this fraction. I think it's best if we do so. Convert it to a decimal and then we multiply by 100. So it goes 0 times and then we put that and you're like, ooh. If your times table is not on point, bafowethu mo mathateng I get go jwetsitse hore o tlo ba dilong. So now to 100. So this means we need multiples of 19. So take 19 times 1. Times 5, we got 57. And then times 6 is going to be more than what we want, right? So it's going to be more than y born. Hi man, I go 19 lan. Best 19 lan. Oh, 3 man, not 5. Yo. Hey, when's I win? Hey, go 19 by 3 one. Icon. Okay, guys, you've got long multiplication as your tool. Ne? You don't have to sweat, okay? Because I know you guys are going to be like, yo, so ibona kanjani? So ibona kanjalo. Khawuthi sibone sithenga 19 by 3, ne? So yakokotela man mntana esikole suba sisinob lapha ufuna ukokotele makunyanzelekile sike sithi 19 by 5 sibone uba ayizoba into close to 100. 9 times 5 45, isn't it? Carry the 4. 5 times 1 is 5 plus 4, that's 9, so we get 95. So this is close, so this is going to be 5 times. And ndifuna ukhumbule la 0 lwana siyamfaka ebengekho. 95 again, let's see, go 95 and then masibone ke ngoku. Ingathi izondibetha kodwa le nto man, ingathi izondenzela intloko ebuhlungu ngoku. Yey, asuniqhela wena man. Now remainder 5. La 5 siphinde sifake u-0 over 19, right? Siyazi uba ke ngoku yaka-2. So uzayaka-2, then siphinde sifake laphana u-2, right? Uyaka-2, that's 38, ne? So with 38, again, later diaske bafethu. Unfortunately, you can see always that third question has a tendency to be a bit unfair, ne? Izoba remainder. Siye pha madoda. Ndizonibonisa uba akho excuse. 50 minus 38. Awuna choice bafethu. So uthi ngoku being 10. 10 minus 8 is 2. 4 minus 3 is 1. So go 12. So again, this is remainder 12, ne? Kula 12 uzaphinda ufaka u-0 phaya. Right? Ngoba isengla 19 to 120 this time. And then khawuthi sibone ke ngoku ithini xa nje. Ndibale kakuhle na kodwa le. Yes, sithe 19 by 3 usinikeze 57, so that's fine. And then u-19 ke ngoku 120 uya kangaphi? Bese simenzile u-5, asike sithi 19 by 6. Sibone. 6 times 9. Ha, ndiyilibele. Ntoni ke ngokumhlolo nje namuhlolo ke mohlolo. Asithi konje sitheni kanene? Oh, sithe 6, sithe 19 times 6. Unubona. Now, 6 times 9. Siyazi go 6 by 6. Well, 36, and then 6 by 8, 48. And then another 6 is going to be 54, right? Yes, 54. So we put a 4, we carry the 5, ne? And then 6 times 1 is 6, plus 5, 11. So this is 114. So this is close to 120, so it goes 6 times. I mean, guys, ayibona nawe uba ifuna siqhela kabi ngoku. Into besiyifuna nje is an ID, and then we say times 100%. Siya estimate lapha. Masiqhubekeni ke ngoku. You know, must multiply this by 100. This is going to be somewhat 52,6 some change. 52,6 percentage. Of course, I'm not sure if I'm doing the right thing, but yeah, it is. Now, if you look here, guys, you can see that this is more than 50, okay? Why not to 50 for nobody? I mean, look at 52, guys, it's close. But honestly, you can combine the two techniques here, okay? We can say, I got a little nyaba. But in balezon nje kodwa. First to 100 it was 5 times, ne? And then we go remainder 5. And then abang 50. Okay, yeah, 52. But anyway, guys, you see leyo na ifuna ukusibeka close to 50, but guess this is certainly greater than 50. So when you do this in combination, I'm not sure. Yeah, the technique yami ifuna undithengisa. We were certainly supposed to be close to 60 though. I don't know if my stuff, maybe I didn't do something well, I'm not sure. Yeah, kona lapho, guys, but you can get an idea that when you combine the two estimates, it's around 50 some change and certainly greater than 50. So for me, I wouldn't choose 50 because already on the pie chart, although that my estimate here is somewhat selling me, you know, lies, but you combine your estimation and what you see. So this should be around 60%. So I would still choose A, although this one is somewhat failing, but maybe there's some mishandling of things. If you noticed, please have a look because I certainly must have. This estimate should not be far off like that. It should not. So there's some chicanari. Unalibutata. But obviously, guys, if you think about it, this one, we kind of made it smaller. We made the numerator smaller and the denominator bigger. So this means we made this a bit smaller. But if we increase this a bit, the answer should definitely be greater than, maybe let's put it that way. The answer should be greater than 52.6%. I think now it makes a bit of sense because we kind of made the numerator smaller while we made the denominator bigger. Maybe if we chose to make both of them smaller, that would make a bit of sense also. Ne? Yeah. So stuff like that, guys. So sometimes you choose how you moved, but however you moved, make sure you understand, okay, now I know that this is certainly bigger than this one because we made the fraction smaller. Great stuff. But can you see it's not too small at the same time? All right, guys, you can see these questions are somewhat not nice as well, even though this is basics, but these basics are somewhat not very friendly. So let's do question 9. I'm tired now, guys. I want to stop. Please let me stop. Hi, back. Pharmacy. Selezi questions eziyithuqa. But ingxaki ngoku zininzi kwazona zizodwa. Okay. We are told, according to Stats South Africa, the South African total population in 2016 was 55.6 million. The population of the Eastern Cape, my province, in 2016 was 7 million. Okay, it says now what percentage of the total population live in the Eastern Cape? Approximately. Nice and easy. So of course we know that the percentage here, guys, is going to be the number of the people. So 7 million over Joe 55, now 55,600,000 decent. That's the one. Then we multiply this by 100%. Okay, all right, okay. Again, this one is a bit messy because of the 6 here. So we can just decide to estimate and say, fine, let's keep the one at the top as it is. But what is 55.6? It's almost 56. So this is almost 56 million. Because we want the things to go away. So this one is times 100. That's, guys, sendiqala erratic ngoba I'm not feeling myself. So this is 7 over 56 times 100%. And of course, let's change this into a decimal. Now 56 to 7 goes 0 times, and then we put a 70 there. 56 to 70 goes once. Ne? Remainder 14. Let's see. 70 minus 56. Borrow 1. Yes. So remainder 14. So it goes once, remainder 14, and then we put a 0 there over 56, and then we see how many times does 56 go there. Okay, it goes to 100 2 times. So this is going to be 2, right? 2 times. Then 56 times 2 is what? Yo, is 112, ne? Yeah, is 112. Yan pambanela. So this is 12, ne? Okay, maske be patient. You can see here we've got 7,5, 10, 12, 15, but obviously class is not 12 nje. Sendiyayiqonda ba iyapha lento lapha iyakhona ngoba izasiqhikanyeza yonke le nenye. Sesino 1 2 da. So xa sino 1 2 nje, let's not continue, guys. Because about these new numbers la. See, multiplying 100%. Of course, sometimes use the options for thought because you will end up suffering here. So you can say this is approximately 12%. So obviously, what did we do? We made the denominator bigger. So if we increase the denominator, we made this one smaller. So certainly the answer would have been greater than 12% or slightly greater than 12%. So this is good. So we know that essentially the answer we're expecting was supposed to be greater than 12%. And so our answer is going to be C, guys. Whether you like it or not. Nguye lo. Hayi niyayifunda imaths namhlanje noba niyathanda noba nithande ndinititshile qha. As you can see, akudlalwa madoda, kuyasetyenzwa. Inyembezi zininzi apha. Because you'll be like, zigqiba nini le nto kwi-exam? Fast. Yabona xa sowuyazi yonke le nto. Seyiqhelile. Sowungumanqanqa kuyo. Hayi, awucingi nakaninzi. Yabona ngoku ndiyayigrumba ngoku. Ndiyigrumba phansi phana. Sekwalala ii-layers and layers of forgetfulness. So ndiyayivumbulula. And ukuvumbulula izinto akukho lula. Kodwa xa seyilapha, gqibile. Right. Now, let's have a look at the next question. Question 2 says, if 25% of the total population live in Gauteng, how many people live in Gauteng? The number of people is going to be the percentage. 25% is 25 over 100 multiplied by, let's see. Going to be 55, don't. So this is 55,600,000. Yo, ithi 1 ke ngoku into enje. Bantram, ithi 1 into enje siyiqala apha sithi wena nawe nimkile nina. Simdedisile endleleni. You dedile. This is now 25 multiplied by 55,600. You see, must see 6,000. 55,006,000. Because kumke ozira by 2 qha phaya. Now, yo. It 1 into enje. Asina choice. But long multiplicase. So 55,006,000 times 25. Yewena. So ubona umhlola. Muhlolo ka James. So this is 0, 0, 0, 30. We carry 3. 5 times 5, 25. Plus 3, 28. We carry 2. Then 25 plus 2, 27. Yo. Then size ngapha sithi 0 phaya. 2 times 0 ngu-0. 2 times 0 ngu-0. By the way, 2 times 0, 0. 2 times 0, 0. 2 times 0, 0. 2 times 6, 12. We carry 1. Luana sim carry paya. Then 2 times 5, that's 10. Plus 1, 11. We carry 1. 2 times 5, 10 plus 1, 11. Yo. Zange ndayibona. I feel like ndibhale wrong le. Fanele le number lena ime kanje. Yeah. Right, so let's do it. 0, 0, 0, 0. Khumbule siyongeza phaya. Ku-10 lwana kuba ngomnye 0, sikherisha 1. 8 plus 1. 7 plus 1, 8 plus 1, 9. And then this is 3, this is 1. Yo. 13.9 million. Ipilo number. Sifuna ukuyibona. 13.9 million. Go Sibale sayigqiba. So this is 13 million and 900,000 people. So therefore the answer is A. Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, you can see, guys, these ones are not friendly, eh? They don't play. So you must learn. Okay, in 2016, an expert predicted that the population of South Africa would grow. Send any question now. Here's names, no bad names. 55 million written in scientific notation is amanza amancike la. Awuthi siyibhale 55.6 naziya. Inje yale. So now when we write this in scientific notation, we tend to move all of this stuff forwards. Okay, so we're going to say this is going to be 5, comma. We moved how many numbers after the decimal? Of course, we can write these ones. This is 55.56 to 2 decimal places if you choose, times 10. Now let's see, how many numbers did we push? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So of course you know that it's 7 digits for a million. Injalo lento. Therefore the answer is B. Shile. Okay, some skills, guys. Some skills are important. Number 4 says in 2016, an expert predicted that the population of South Africa would grow from 55.6 million by 10%. Excuse me, in the next 10 years. Approximately how many people how many people is she predicting there will be? You see this one? How many people there will be in total? You get it. You get it. So first of all, let's find 10% of this thing. So we know that 10% is 10 over 100 multiplied by 55.6, like that. And as I said, that and that go away. So basically we end up with 10 times 55, 6,000. Okay, so unfortunately we're gonna go through the long multiplication issues here. So we've got 5, 6, like so. We multiply this by 10. So this is 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Place a 0 there. Let's change. This times that is going to be 0. That times that is 0. That times that is 0. That times 6, 6. That times 5, 5. That times the other 5, 5. We add. So this is 0, 0, 0, 0. 6, 5, 5. Right. So the answer here is 55 million. No. Konjifunda kanjani la number? Funda kanjani la number, but bad weather, bad. So good moya, bad weather, bad. This is 5,560,000 man. Yayiqonda. Konje bengibani yona le number kwasekuqaleni bingu 5,500,000. Hayibo madoda. Nansi inamba ingafundeki. Maybe sengikhathele ne. I got a right lena ndithi 10 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 1 2 3 4 5 6, and then these digits also should be 6, so 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3, so they are 6 as well, so we added properly. Masike sifundeni le number ke ngoku guys, ithini nalento is 55,060,000. Yes. Azohlwa imuntu elula kangaka. Masingaqhelwa kabi man, masingaqhelwa kabi. So those are the number of people. Now all we have to do is to add to, yes, uyayiqonda masilonto le. So we can say then we know the number of people in the population is going to be the 55,600,000. Then we're going to add the increase because we increased by 10%. Now we start with the units. So this is going to be 0, 0, 0, 60. Then there has to be 0 now here because that's on the millions. I hope I'm doing the right thing, Bafethu. Imaths inemihlola, inemikhuba, and if awuyazi maths izakubulala nya. So you need to know how to read numbers. You need to know how to read numbers. Okay. All right. Okay. Masengeze ke ngoku. Ngu-0, 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 ngu-6, ngu-6. Apha izoba ngu-10, iba ngu-0, sikherishe u-1, 10 again, plus 1, 11. So nansi yale value ke ngoku. Isinaks nale number. Hayi, ayifani tu nento esiyitholile. Hey, kanime guys, kanime. Itheni ngoku? Kutheni ngoku? Ithini kanene? Ithi approximately what number? Or approximately. Eish, now ndibona inamba ezingafani nale. You get it? Hey. Hayi. Sendibona inamba ezingafani. Ithi sibale zona nje. It is 65 million le, it is 60 million, it is 61, it is 56. And go happy. Hagiathaba jwale hagiathaba. Hagiathaba. I think I wrote my numbers incorrectly. As a result, ke mo mathateng amakudu. You see, ke mo mathateng amakudu biano. My answer is totally crazy. It's not anything close to what I was supposed to find. Kanti senze ntoni ngoku apha? Ayi guys. Khalela uphumla ngathi ngiphinde ndisele phaya. Akho nenye nje kunani uba ibe seduze. I think kunyanzeleka si-estimate bafethu angeke. Yes. Now we have to estimate, I suppose, because these numbers, but this was supposed to work though. I'm surprised it doesn't. Why is it not working? But I think it's the way we wrote the number, you know. But again, it's not bad. It's not bad. I'm worried about this 10%. It's not making any sense because I think what we did here was incorrect. There was no 0 in front. Part of me says I didn't read my number correct. Yay, wena man. Yay, wena man. Undenza ntoni. Yay, wena man. Yeah, it's wrong the way I wrote it. This is 5,560,000. Damn it, wena man. Wanqera. That is why. Hey, sengixakile uba kutheni ndibhale inyongo ngoku. So masiqalise siye. Yeah. Now yathetha ke ngoku. As you can see, guys, it gets technical sometimes. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 6, 11. We carry 1. 5 plus 5, 10 plus 1, 11. Carry 1. This is 6. Yes. That's something. And as you can see, this is 61,160,000. Ne? So, on approximation, we are close to 61, so we can accept C. We are certainly greater than 60, but yeah. So as you can see, that is fine. It's an approximation. Okay, so we're good. Almost botched a question. Again, folks, you can see that tiredness has a tendency to not be very friendly. And remember, when you are tired, attempt to practice when you are tired. Don't get tired and stop. Force it. But as you force it, try to slow down a bit in the process and try to contain your emotions and the way you feel. Excuse me. And then focus. Force yourself to concentrate. And of course, eat well, drink water, exercise. You will see that your concentration will still not be so bad. You can see, guys, it's easy to give up on a question like this. But you can do it. Let's finish up now. Okay, 10. If car A is traveling at 60 kilometers an hour, covering a distance of 330 kilometers. Nice. How many hours will it take to cover this distance? Again, folks, you know your triangle. Speed. You know your triangle. You know most. Speed is distance over time. So we know that speed is going to be distance over time. Now the speed is 60. Distance is 330 over t. So we can clearly see from cross multiplication, t is going to be 330 over 60. As you would know, time is distance over speed. Right, so we have a situation straight up. But again, you know how these things work. You know, you should know these things. This one already goes with that one. No questions asked. If you ask any questions, you are dead. All right, so let's convert to decimal because it looks like it. So this implies that t is, maybe we can say therefore, who knows. 6 to 33 goes how many times? 5, comma. Now remember this is 3, so this is remainder 3. So this one is gone, so we put a 0 there. 6 to 30 goes how many times? 5 times. Is gqiwe, is klar, is done. Or you can go long division if you want. So 5.5 hours. Is the B. Right, so that was the first one. Second one says car B covers the same distance plus an additional 50 kilometers, excuse me, in 4.75 hours. So how many minutes is this? Can you see that? Minutes. We convert time to minutes. Excuse me. So, well, we know that 1 hour is going to be equal to 60 minutes. Ne? Now the question is, this 4.75 hours is going to be how many minutes? That is the one. So you can see, guys, some techniques require a lot. So you should be able to pass this thing. For me, this book has the hardest of the questions you can think of, but again, the fairest, because they are approachable with your understanding and the knowledge. Other questions may be hard, but maybe even more outrageous than these. Okay. Right, so we've got here 60 multiplied by 4.75. As you can see, this now tests how well we can multiply decimal fractions. You know that this is 475 over 100 because there were 2 digits after the decimal. Now we know that things start happening. And u2 ku6 uyakangapi? Kai 3. U2 ku10 uyakangapi? Kai 5. And you're like, yo, jo. Homonate fela. X is going to be 3 times 475 over 5. And certainly 475 will be able to divide 5. Let's do long division. 5 into 475. Now 5 to 47 goes how many times? 9 times. 9 times 5 is 45. Okay, 7 minus 5 is 2. 4 minus 4 is 0. We drop the 5. 5 to 25 goes 5 times. 5 times 5 is 25. Bese siyabulala zifa zonke. This is 95. So this means our x is going to be 3 times 95. Well, you can do the things again. You know, there's nothing wrong from doing things. You see, guys, you want to pass, isn't it? 5 times 3, 15, carry 1. 9 times 3, 27, plus 1, 28. So the answer is 285 minutes. Yeah. Where is that? D. Gqitywe nje kanjalo asifuna besixoxa matyala. Re kgathetse ke melato jwala re batla ho bua. Se re batla ho tsamaya. ako re tloele hlemanyeo ha o bone hore re bolaya ka nako jwale o kgathala ba padile ka rona. Which car traveled at a faster average speed? Which one? Hey. Abana let me buzz. Hi guys, these questions oba lula jonga zibe ninzi man. Umuntu yamze ding dong. Ha. Yeyiphi ebulele kakhulu nge-speed. Now this means we need to find the speed of this one, the car B, because we know the speed of car A. Now let's find out. They traveled at the same speed. It's car B, car A, it's impossible. Nonsense. Maskesiye ku car B. Car B says to us, we traveled the same distance as A. What was that? 330. So car B speed is going to be 330 plus an additional 50 kilometers, all divided by the time it took, 4.75 hours. Okay, that's fine, because here we're just looking at the speed in kilometers per hour, so we're gonna keep it at that. Now, what is this one, guys? So this means the speed here, this is 30 plus 50, that's 80, so this is 380. Again, you can do it nicely, or you can do long, the addition of things, but send the better phezulu the cargo morph, wakwava xa kuthiwa cargo morph, ke masikunike mntana esikolo lamaqhinga ngoba uzawukhala apha uthi hey bendithi ndiyakuva ndisakuva. You add them, you add, gqityiwe kanjalo, gqityiwe. So ezinye kodwa additions you must be able to do like this, ngoba wena nje vele ujonge nje apha kwi-tens qha dibanise zonto bese ufaka naliya gqibile. Right, now we have a problem. The speed here is going to be 380 first divided by, convert to decimal, 475 over 100. Ne? Izasibulala le yona, ndibona nje ndijongile seyigeza kakhulu. We could reduce this by using 5, but masivele siyiyeke nje. S is going to be 380 multiplied by 100 over 475. Nice and easy. Don't go clear. What message is that? It's your phone. Oh, it's my students. Let me have a look what Lucas is saying. Oh, okay. We're gonna send the link. Lucas, the link is right here. And Lucas, I will kill you when. It's right at the top of our WhatsApp. What? You should be able to have it, Maluki. There you go, Lucas. All right, okay, all right. Now, folks, let's deal with this beast. Now, it helps to sometimes reduce these things, but sometimes it's not so easy, eh? I'm thinking, does 25 go to 475? Because I'm feeling like, izonibulala lexa nje andiyifuni le nto ifuna ukwenzeka. All right, okay, all right. I'm not happy now. I am not happy at all. Yo, guys, kanti nisibuzelani questions ezinje nani man? Hayi man. Hayi man, akele butle man. Hayi man. So let's just do it. I don't know if I'm doing the right thing, but I'm gonna say U times U This is going to be 38, and then all the zeros must be there, bafethu. You can even try using long multiplication. Ukuthi injengoba injalo na, nokuba ayikho njalo na. Kodwa into endiyaziyo, amaqhinga namaqhetseba we-maths ayaspana. Yeah. Guys, I've set ourselves up for some serious problems. Because ayibona ngolento yenzeka apha. It means kodwa ke mntwana isikolo funeka ube namaqhetseba man uzibuza uba yintoni kanti le nditsho ngapha. Kahle kahle kwentakalani CTS is equal to this one. 38,000 is as good as 40,000. Right? Sesiya estimate again because yayibona bizosiqhekeza ingqondo. Then le iseduze ku500. Yayibona lento. Singaqhekeki ingqondo. Hayi. Apha ke sesenza lento kuthiwa yi-estimase. We are estimating, my friends. Okay, maybe it be outrageous. So we are doing the estimation. All right, okay, all right. Khumbuleke le izawufuna uba a bit crazy. Sinyukile, sonyuka. So sizinyusile. So izawufuna uba seduze. Now, njengoba sizinyusile nje, we know that this guy and that guy go. So we end up with 400 divided by 5, so to speak. So S is going to be 5 yakangapi 400. Kanibale nani ke ngoku. Yakangapi 5 ku400. Okay, masiyenze long division. Ndikuphi chance nje yokuba upractice long division. 5 ku40 andithi uzawuthi lapha yana 5 ku40 yangaphi yakayi-8. 8 times 5 is 40. Bese sithi siyabulala. Then sehlisa u0 ku0 lo 5 ku0 yangaphi yakayi-0. 0 times 5 is 0. Gqityiwe. Ku8. So this is going to be 80. So this is again approximately 80 kilometers per hour. That is the speed. Can you see? It's approximately 80. So basically, ukabi faster bafethu. Of course, it's not exactly 80, but it's close to 80. So since we increased everything, it's going to be slightly less. But remember, proportionally, it should be more or less the same thing. So we can say, man, is you, man, is you. This one has a faster average speed. As you can see, it's much bigger than the other one. All right, okay, all right. So guys, this is it. As you can see, I took longer than I wanted to, but again, I was just trying to avoid giving you basics by reading the notes and giving examples, but I chose to just go through the testlet using the very basics you would have had to learn in your notes. And I do hope that you can see sometimes when things get out of hand, you can run to this friend to get closer because you've got answers available to you. So you will pick out the best answer that you can see. You don't have to have the exact calculation, but an approximation in the calculation, and then you pick out the answer that seems good in the options. So this is the nice part of this exam. You can do that. All right, folks, even if you didn't, you could easily present this as an answer like SWA. So, right, guys, so that would be the end of our video today. And then, of course, let's handle testlet 5 in the next video. And again, I'm going to try to move slowly so that you guys can understand what we're doing, because there's no point in me moving faster through these questions and you don't understand what I'm doing, because at the end of the day, you will be sitting there and be like, yo, hi, inzima lento, but it's easy. I mean, you can check, as there's lots of nice questions, but I felt the others might be too easy. But as we go up high, these ones can be quite a bit more challenging. So we've got stuff to check, folks, and enjoy. So you will find this booklet in the description. I'll clean it up, of course, all the markings I've made, so that you can read it anew. And of course, the answers also will have been cleaned up so that you can use it over and over again to then try to practice time attack. But of course, the fallacy to that is that you already know the answers, you've seen how we work them, so you are more likely to be faster. But at the same time, you want to check, because I mean, we did a lot of things here. You want to check, even though you know the answers, you want to just check, would you be able to do all these computations within the reasonable time that you would have available to get to that answer as well, much faster. So don't undermine those techniques, that even though you know these answers, you still need to see how well you can write everything. Would you be able to write it within reasonable time? Even there, you would see, you would have to still think, because you will forget what we wrote. We wrote a lot. So to rewrite all of this would be quite taxing. So you can check yourself there if you are able to do that. And of course, you take all the others that I may have not shown and you go with it. Okay, guys, have a good luck in your next NBT exam. And of course, good luck with your maths exams for those who are doing the upgrading parts of their lives. So maths is coming up next week, Friday. So there's lots of videos in the channel. They take you guys from basics to complexities. There's plenty of other videos where I do full papers. So use these, you will pass, I promise you. Because those videos are simply singing the entirety of those topics in just a few words, in just a few questions. And if you can just keep up with that, you would go very far. And there will still be other videos I'm going to do to assist. So please, those who are subscribed in my channel, make sure you know every video there is in this channel. Not to make me popular, but for you to learn your trade in the best way possible. And of course, to ensure that you do not find yourself scrambling for an APS score that is not adding up nicely. You just want to smile when you look at your results. All right, folks, give the video a thumbs up. You can share it with your friends. You can watch it over and over again. You might even pause the video and attempt certain questions if you feel you have the ability to. Then you compare your technique with mine, and of course scroll down to the answers on the booklet and check if everything we did is good or not. If yes, what is so different about how we did things, and what is so different about how they did the things? At the end of the day, did we come up with the same answers? If yes, then all is good. Otherwise, I'll see you again next time, folks. Goodbye.